When people imagine dinosaurs, they imagine power. They imagine monsters. But fossils don't show monsters. They show biology. And biology is strange. For a century, we have viewed dinosaurs through the lens of cinema. Shrink-wrapped skin, constant roaring, exposed, jagged teeth. But in 2026, the scientific mask is slipping. The reality is not more terrifying. It is weirder. It is the difference between a movie alien and a real, breathing animal. To understand what they really were, we have to unlearn everything we saw on screen. Take the Tyrannosaurus rex. In movies, its teeth are always visible, even when its mouth is closed. It gives the impression of a permanent snarl. But a landmark study solidified in early 2026 has changed the face of the king. Dinosaurs had lips. Not soft, flexible human lips, but scaly, lizard-like, extraoral tissue. Think of a Komodo dragon. Why? Because teeth are biological tools made of enamel. Exposed enamel dries out in the air. It becomes brittle. It cracks. To keep those bone-crushing daggers functional, they had to be kept moist by a lip seal. Imagine a T-Rex standing 10 feet away from you. You wouldn't see a row of knives. You would see a smooth, scaly face, a sealed, clinical smile. The teeth would only appear at the moment of the strike. It doesn't make the animal less scary. It makes it feel more present, more real. Then there is the texture. This is no longer a theory. We have the direct fossil evidence, clear, unmistakable impressions of feathers. But they weren't just on the small, bird-like species. They were on the giants. Some feathers were simple, more like hair, or the proto-fuzz of a chick. Others were complex, with the same branching structures found in a modern hawk. They didn't evolve these to fly. They evolved them for warmth, because dinosaurs were warm-blooded. This realization ripples through everything we know about their lives. Warm-blooded animals have high energy needs. They don't move like cold lizards in the sun. They move with intent, but they also need to rest. A movie dinosaur is always hunting, always screaming. The real dinosaur? It was probably asleep. Just like a modern lion, a T-Rex spent up to 18 hours a day conserving energy, digesting a massive meal of bone and marrow, regulating its temperature. The prehistoric world wasn't a constant battleground of roars. It was a quiet ecosystem, a world of long silences, punctuated by moments of intense, calculated violence. If you were there, you wouldn't hear a constant chorus of monsters. You would hear the wind, the insects, and the occasional heavy thud of a sleeping giant. If you find this grounded look at history fascinating, consider subscribing. We explore the reality behind the myths every week. We used to think dinosaurs grew like lizards, slowly over a century. We were wrong. We study their bones like trees, looking for growth rings. And the rings tell a story of a radical, painful metamorphosis. In early 2026, researchers confirmed that a T. rex didn't reach full size until age 40. That's 15 years longer than previous estimates. For the first half of its life, it wasn't a bone-crushing tank. It was a teenager, lean, long-legged, a pursuit sprinter. It lived in a completely different world than its parents, hunting different prey. This finally settles the 35-year mystery of Nanotyrannos. For decades, we argued, was it a baby T-Rex or a separate species? As of late 20 to 25, we have the answer. It was its own species, a slender, fast assassin living in the shadow of the king. The Cretaceous wasn't just ruled by one giant. It was a complex web of different predators, each specialized for a different kind of kill. Evolution is not a straight line. It is a series of strange experiments. Consider the 2025 descriptions of Spacomelis. It is one of the most alien skeletons ever found. It had spikes, long, defensive needles, fused directly to its ribs. No skin or muscle in between. Just bone growing out of bone, piercing through the side of its body. No other animal in history, before or since, has ever used armor this way. It represents a biological glitch, an experimental defense system that nature tried once, and then deleted from the record. This reminds us that for every dinosaur we know, there were likely 1,000 others that looked like something out of a fever dream. Armor, crests, and colors, that we may never see. Now, consider their eyes. We often think of dinosaurs as daytime creatures, but many had massive eye sockets and a specialized bone called a sclerotic ring. This suggests they weren't just active in the sun. Some dinosaurs were nocturnal. They moved through the pitch-black forests of the Mesozoic with perfect clarity. The world back then was never silent. Even at night, the shadows were filled with the sound of scaly feet and the rustle of feathers. And what did they sound like? Close your eyes and imagine a dinosaur roar. Now, delete it from your mind. Dinosaurs didn't have the vocal cords for it. Birds don't roar. Reptiles don't roar. They made low-frequency sounds, infrasound. A sound so deep it bypasses the ears and vibrates in your bones. Think of the rumble of a large alligator, but scaled up to the size of a bus. You wouldn't hear a T-Rex coming. You would feel it. A rhythmic shaking in the earth. A heaviness in your lungs. It wasn't a scream. It was a vibration that told every living thing nearby that the king was moving. This brings us to their intelligence. We used to call them pea-brained or stupid. But new neuromapping from 2025 shows that some theropods had neuron densities similar to modern primates. They weren't just reacting to instinct. They were solving problems. They were communicating. They were mourning. When the asteroid hit, it wasn't a wall of fire. It was long, cold starvation. The sun went out. The plants died. The giants were the first to go. But dinosaurs didn't vanish. They got smaller, grew more feathers, took to the sky. Every bird you see today, the sparrow on your fence, the hawk in the tree, the chicken on the farm, is a theropod dinosaur, not descendants, the living lineage. They didn't fail. They changed the way they rule. Dinosaurs were weirder than we thought. Not monsters, not aliens. Real animals, with habits, limits, mistakes. Some are still here, in every bird we see today. Which fact changed the way you see them? Comment below. And remember, stay curious.